to weaken the magnificent light of intelligence that God had given the first parents. You have centuries and centuries of corruption which exert a harmful influence on the body and on the mind. But Mary was not only the pure, the new Eve, created for the joy of God. She was the super Eve, the masterpiece of the Most High. She was the full of grace, the mother of the Word in the mind of God. Jesus Ben Sirach says, "Source of wisdom is the Word." Will the Son therefore not have put his wisdom on his mother's lips? If the mouth of a prophet was purified with embers, because he had to repeat to men the words that the wisdom entrusted to him, will love not have cleansed and exalted the speech of his infant spouse, who was to bear the word, so that she should no longer speak as a little girl and then as a woman, but only and always as a celestial creature melted in the great light and wisdom of God? Just to halt for a moment, when it says, if the mouth of a prophet was purified with embers, because he had to repeat to men the words that the word entrusted to him, that will be Isaiah, whom God touched with fiery coal. So to continue, the miracle is not in the superior intelligence shown by Mary in her childhood, as afterwards it was by me. The miracle is in containing the infinite intelligence that dwelt there within suitable bounds, so that crowds should not be startled and satanic attention should not be awakened. I will talk again on this subject, which is part of the remembrance which saints have of God. Just as that's the end of Jesus' commentary on this chapter 7 about the child Mary and what the dialogue she was having with St. Anne and then St. Joachim. But that reference there to the remembrance which saints have of God, which Jesus is going to talk about another time, that's another video or set of videos in itself, or in themselves. Just to go back to the previous paragraph, where he says that the infinite intelligence was contained within bounds, so that crowds should not be startled and satanic attention should not be awakened. That is Jesus referring first, and least worryingly, to ordinary people around Mary. You don't want them freaking out with her coming out with all kinds of stuff. They're going to think, this is just a little girl. How is she coming out with all this? It's one thing to have a very educated little girl. It's another thing for her to be saying things that certainly no child could know. So crowds are not startled by the Blessed Mother. Same with Jesus when he was a child. In the town of Nazareth, people were not startled by him. He made his living not by being a circus exhibit, but by carpentry. He was unremarkable in that way, and that's why the family freaked out when he decides, the family, not the Blessed Virgin, but Alphaeus and his 4 sons, particularly Joseph, I can't remember whether he's canonised. Joseph, his cousin, and Simon, his cousin. The other 2, James and Jude, they became apostles. But initially, for a long time, Simon warmed to Jesus, but Joseph stayed firm against him till close to the end of the ministry. And that's because they didn't think of him as Messiah. The infinite was contained in him, wrapped in his human nature, so that the crowds may not be startled. But I said that's the least worrying thing of what Jesus said. The more more serious, more worrying matter will be the reference to not wanting satanic attention to be awakened. If it had been known by Satan who Mary is, Jesus would have made every effort to have a slaughter of the innocents of her and all the little girls. It may not have been King Herod, though he was king at that time as well. It may have been some other way, but Satan would have sought to bring all the forces he could to bear on that family and to kill Joachim, Anne, and the Blessed Virgin, and anyone who might have been in the way or may have been collateral damage. And the same was true with Jesus in the public life. In the private life. Yes, there was that initial attempt by Satan to get him killed, but it looked as if the job had been done. And so there's a limit to satanic knowledge, because there's no information we have that Satan attempted to assault the Holy Family once it returned from Egypt, nor when it went to Egypt, nor while the sojourn in Egypt was there, which Maria Valtorta talks about, which I talk about in one of my earlier videos, and how that links to the apparitions of the Blessed Virgin at Zaytun in Egypt. Look at those videos there. For me, it's remarkable, but I may return to those again. But Satan did not make an attempt on them in Egypt, nor when they came back to Nazareth before the public ministry began. But clearly, God understood the need to mask the presence of the Holy Virgin and God the Son on the earth for a long time. And so with that, I'll conclude this video, and we'll see you on the next one.